what it comes from that. And so it's unfortunate, you know what I'm saying? But he ended up, you know, she ended up getting her house shot up or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And she got killed, and you know, that was reckless, and her baby or her boyfriend got charged or whatever. I don't know what happened, but all I know is that he shot one of the police, and they came in, they didn't know it was the police. Like, that's wrong. That's just flat out wrong. But what I want to say is that there's a mixture of racist police. There's a mixture of police just abusing their authority, regardless of any race that they are. I don't care if they're Asian, European American, African American, Latino American. They're just abusing their authority. Then you got racist police who just, you know, like, they have great racism in their heart. And then you got these, what they try to call Karens, okay, which is these European American women who are harassing people while they're selling lemonade at a lemon stand, or telling you to get out of this store, you go back to where you're from. I've witnessed that. I've witnessed my grandmother get told, not by a European American, but by a Korean, to go back on the boat. She said, "You go back on the boat," like, you know what I'm saying? And you know, that's crazy. But and I got something about Asians and Africans coming up soon. But anyway, you know, a lot of little racism here and there, and you know, racism isn't limited to African American and European American. Racism is period. I mean, we got slaves right now in Sudan, Africa, being, you know, bound, having these Arabs have slavery going on right now in Sudan. Okay, so it's more than what we think. But yeah, so you got like I said, they call them the Karens, and these women who are called Karens are like these European American women who are, you know, badgering people, being pests, because they don't look at you as adequate, or they don't look at you as equal to them, or you're not on their level of expertise, level of civilization, like you're not as civil as them, or whatever the case may be, or like you're just. And then you even got some European American men who are doing this stuff. Now, I don't believe that we should call them Karens. I think that we should call them racists, because a Karen, any person can have the name Karen. Okay, you can be African American with the name Karen. You could be European American. And my cousin told me that we was, you know, we was elaborating this, and I was like, yeah, I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? So don't feed into that Karen stuff either. Just call them what they are, racist. Okay, call them racist. And the blatant murder that's going on shouldn't happen. Now, George Floyd, he died a reckless death. He died reckless. The people who was with him was telling him to chill and shut up, and that he was acting crazy. The police officer, he could have chilled. You know what I'm saying? He could have did better. But to be honest with you, I just don't stand with George Floyd at all. Like, to be honest with you, I don't even feel like that police officer should merely be arrested. I really don't. I don't think so. I think that the police officers that should be arrested are like the guy who just killed Jacob Blake, the people who killed Breonna Taylor, who they not even arrested. Like, in so many other countless situations, like, you know, like the guy in South Carolina who took off running, the police shot him in the back, or like the little boy in Cleveland who, you know, he was playing with a squirt gun and the police shot him up. He was like a little boy. He wasn't even like nothing but like, you know, 10 years old or something. Like these are the people who should be like arrested. You know what I mean? Because like, I mean, I done been in too many. I ain't gonna say too many, but I done been in a handful of good. No, I will say too many. I done been in too many crazy street life incidents to where I was operating calmly, okay? Close range shootouts, guns drawn, and I'm not panicking, I'm not hyperventilating. Like, I mean, I just don't think that shooting first and asking questions later is the way to go. And I don't think that it really is something that can be an excuse, because there's so many police officers who also are able to shoot you in the kneecaps. They're able to, pull out the taser gun. They're able to wrestle you down. They're able to, like, I got in fights with police officers. I got wrestled down in the IHOP by a police officer who I was all in his face going like that and talking trash to him and stuff like that when I was a young buck. You know what I'm saying? That's a separate incident from when I punched a police officer and nothing happened to me. See what I'm saying? So these are separate incidents. But, you know what I'm saying? And in both incidents, they operated with self-control. Like, even though the guy wrestled me down and, the IHOP was flipped upside down and stuff, it was still, to me, self-control. I deserved it. Like, I'm a man. And like I said, these beta men, they too busy to just agree. No, don't agree with everything. Don't stand for George Floyd. Like, no, he was high on methamphetamines and fentanyl. Okay? The guy was high out of his brain. Okay? He was high on methamphetamine and fentanyl. Go do the research of methamphetamines and fentanyl. He was going to die anyway. Okay? He was not going to merely die because of a police officer. He was already, if you go back and look at the body cam, type in body cam, George Floyd, you will see that this man was hyperventilating. You will see that this man was talking about that he's going to die. He was talking about that he was going to die and not prophesying, okay? Because he was high. Okay, he took 2 drugs. He took 2 separate drugs, mixed them, and he was under the influence of both, and he was high out of his brains, okay? And even the people who was with him was telling him, chill, dude. And she was even saying he crazy. Like, look at the whole thing. She was calling him crazy, he a lunatic. She was trying to distance herself from him. She's like, I don't really know him like that. Like, the other dude was, because he was with a male and a female. The dude was like, man, look, man, I'm just, I was just in the car. Like, they're not even really standing up for the dude because he acting so ridiculous. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was bound to die. I hate to say this. He was bound to die. You're not going to be able to continue to feed your body these harmful drugs, okay? You're not going to be able to feed your body these harmful drugs and do these things. I believe that he could have died. I believe that he could have survived if he didn't take those drugs. I believe that that police officer helped in his death, but I don't believe that police officer was 100% responsible for his death, especially if this man is telling you that he feels like he's gonna die. Okay, he was talking about, my brother made a valid point also. He was saying that I'm claustrophobic. You know what I'm saying? I'm claustrophobic and stuff like that. I can't be in tight spaces. Negro, you was just inside of a vehicle with 2 other occupants in the vehicle. Now you can't go inside of a police vehicle, which is more spacious, and a police SUV? Like, dude, like, you're high. That's the bottom line is you're high. You're high on methamphetamine and fentanyl, and we don't need to listen to you. We don't need to listen to you. Okay? They even listened to him, and he said, put me on the ground. I'd rather be on the ground. They put him on the ground. But in the process of trying to get him still, keeping him still, because he was all over the place, since the beginning of the video, he was all over the place, jittery, acting jittery, moving. He's under the influence, right? And in the process of that, the man lost his life. He was already saying he was gonna die. He was already saying he can't breathe. He was already saying he can't breathe. There was no foot to his neck. He was sitting in the vehicle saying he can't breathe because he's claustrophobic. So he was coming up with many excuses. And I'm just not a man of excuses, okay? I'm not a victim in these streets. I've drove, people who know me and have came to Washington, D.C. to visit me, they say, man, Jonathan, man, you don't be driving like you a Christian. and I ain't gonna lie, like, I don't be driving like I know Jesus. Now, I don't be screaming and cussing people out, and I be letting people go. But I ain't gonna lie, man. 8 cylinders, and that's for real. Horsepower, and that's for real. The horsepower is all there, and I navigate through traffic for real, and there's nothing to boast about. But I said it sounding boastfully with the shades on, but it ain't cute. And I digress also because I feel like I'm getting a little ahead of myself. But I'm starting to chill and lower my voice because I was seeing myself in the vehicle navigating through traffic with the wind breezing through my hair, and it feels so good. But you gotta drive like you know the Lord, because it can be, irresponsible. But nah, man. In the process, man, I've seen police officers tell me things like, "Dude," and I'm like, "I know, officer." And they're like, "Man, go on, man." And I'm like, "Thank you, officer." See what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? But then I've also seen the pettiness of police officers when I was riding my bicycle without, like, using a turn signal or something on the back block by the Capitol late at night with nobody on the road. And I'm getting pulled over and getting a ticket riding my bicycle. Like, it's just stuff that's just like, whoa, like, is it because I blend with the darkness? I don't know. But anyway, man, at the end of the day, man, stand for righteousness. Don't stand with the police, and don't stand with these European Americans, because a lot of them, because you have to understand, this country that we live in was not built for us. We built this country with our hands, like the Capitol, the White House. Africans built that with their hands. You see what I'm saying? And we don't get recognition for any of this stuff. And Italians have received reparations, and they're not from America. Slave masters, European slave masters, have received reparations. They're not from America. Excuse me, what am I talking about? I didn't mean to say that. I meant to say that the Jews have received reparations, and they're not from America. And they received reparations for what Hitler did, and they're not from America. And the slave masters received reparations after they realized that they needed, that they lost money, that they were losing money because they didn't have any more slaves to labor for free. So they were losing money. So they were like, we need reparations for what we've lost. Okay? And they got reparations. You see what I'm saying? And African Americans to this day have still not received reparations. And I say that not as one begging for this racist country's money, because I don't beg people who don't like me. But I say this to say that this should be a clear indication that this country was not designed for us, does not like us, and it's just not for us. This is why you need the Lord Jesus Christ. Because when you have the Lord Jesus Christ, it doesn't matter if this country is for you or not. Because God is for you so much that He will have you overcome these obstacles that they try to put in place. Like when they try to burn down Tulsa, which was the first Black Wall Street, and they burned that city down because they were seeing how successful the African Americans were becoming. And they burned it down. They burned the town down. You know what I mean? And so many other stories, right, of blatant racism. But regardless, when you follow the Lord, you don't have to really like worry about who did this and who did that. However, me being an African American, I do grieve when I see impartial treatment. And I'm not talking about grieve in a sense where I'm out here losing my sleep, because I also see enough black on black crime, so to speak, which causes it to even out. and I'm not crying too hard. I ain't ever cried behind any of these police brutalities. But I think it's very unfair, and I think it does cause me to feel sorrowful for those families and these innocent people, like the Breonna Taylors and like the little 9-year-olds who get shot because of having a squirt gun. And I mean, the police just pulled up and shot him. He just pulled up in his vehicle, got out and shot him. You know what I mean? I think he shot him from inside of the vehicle. It was crazy. It was just crazy. But anyway, like I said, I didn't experience so many street experiences that I know in my heart that it doesn't take all that. So it's really no excuse. But yeah, don't side with the police. Side with what's right. You know what I mean? Side with what's right. And that's what God will expect out of you. He said, I do not judge as the world judges, so to speak. He said, I judge righteously. You know what I mean? And that's how we need to judge. We need to judge righteously. Okay? Because what I also want to say is I also see hate of African Americans within the African American community. Okay? And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with Candace Owens. Okay? I agree with some of the points that she makes, but I also believe that she's coming from a bitter place. And me as an African American man who's lived in the African American community my whole life, and I can judge in a way where I don't have as much bitterness attached, it ain't cool. You know what I mean? And this is something that also I don't agree with Church in the Wilderness. She's too for, she sides too much with these European Americans, even in their wrongs. Even in their wrongs, even in their blatant racism. And I don't agree with that. And I don't agree with African Americans who have that mindset. However, I'm prepared to be called a coon when I side with the truth and I'm not siding with the popular side. And that's another thing that I don't like about my people. And I don't like about Democrats who are European Americans. They want to bully you to agree with everything that every African American says. And I don't agree with the African American large population at all times. That's not how my mind operates. My mind operates as a free thinker. I'm liberated, so I can think freely. I don't have to go with the flow of the crowd. That's beta male. An alpha male can speak up and stand up against opposition, even when it's on his own people. And I'm calling out my own people by saying this. A lot of y'all don't want to come against the gangsters in the community who killing up the little children, who shooting the old ladies. Like I said, the 72, 71-year-old lady who got shot behind my apartment across the street. So I'm saying, behind trying to break up a fight, she got shot square in the middle of the face. Behind her trying to break up a fight. Okay, so you know what I'm saying? I'm realizing that being pro-black ain't what it's about. It's about just being right. Just be right. Okay, it's good to love your people. Okay, so that's also right. You know what I mean? So I love my people, which is a good thing. I love my community, which is a good thing. Okay, but I also don't love the wrong within my community, which is a good thing. So just be right. Focus on being right and not being wrong. And don't stand for people who are not right, because it's not going to help you have basic judgment, and your judgment is going to be more corroded and more corrupted as you continue in life, and you'll be turned over to a reprobate mind. Sorry. So anyway, God bless you. I love you all. And yeah, just stand for the truth. Don't stand with the police. Don't stand with these, don't even call these white women or these European American women, don't call them Karens, call them racists. And when you see African Americans acting like, they're better than European Americans, don't stand for that either. You know what I mean? So it's all foul. And what I'm going to say is, and I'm going to make a whole entire video about this, I do not like seeing how the European Americans are so quiet about racism unless they're Democrats. I hate that. I hate it. It's disgusting to me. It's like the only way we see European Americans come against racism is if they're a Democrat. And that to me sucks. And it shows. Like it's too many Christians right now that are European American that I'm realizing are racist. I'm learning this. Too many European Americans that are Christians that are racist. Yes, racist. That's a whole other video. And it's you don't find a lot of European Americans that are Christians, because most European Americans that are Democrats aren't Christians, and most European Americans that are Democrats aren't always racist. Okay, now it's a combination between racist, covert racist European American Democrats and European American Democrats that are just not racist altogether. Okay, I think it's a combination, and a lot of them are homosexuals. A lot of the European Americans that are not racist and they're Democrats, a lot of times they're either homosexuals, or they like to smoke weed, or they or they just really do have a good head on their shoulders. You know what I mean? But it's rare to find them believing in Jesus. That's a rarity. It's so rare. Now, if you don't believe me, talk to more people in life, and you'll see. And listen to more, engage with people more, and judge me on that, because I have dealt with at least 200 people a day for the past 8 years. Okay? So give me some space here. I've dealt with at least 200 people a day for 8 years. Okay? And the majority of these 200 people a day were people I've never met before. Okay? For 200 years, for 8 years, 200 people a day, because of the line of work that I do. I've dealt with 200, and we were engaging in a lot of topics. Okay? A lot of topics, a lot of religion topics, a lot of topics on race, gentrification, like, you know what I mean? So yeah, cut me some space here. You know what I mean? Anyway, God bless y'all. I'm out.